by alone inside. He's got the breakaway with the touch to the right. Goal! Everything you wanted from this debut. It's Brandon by taking a shot with the left. Goal! Isaac Friend from 25 yards out. The equalizer. Will Kidd with the touch of the goal. It's a go-ahead goal. Minneapolis City.
This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Hello, my friends. This is the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. I'm your host, John, and no closer than 6 feet away is my partner, the Nate Morales. Nate, what's good, man? How you doing?
Oh man, we are keeping busy. You know how it is, keeping busy. John, you and I have been so busy this week that we will be rocking a super short show tonight. One really that's just for all the Pickin players and those that are Pickin curious. We want to go over the recap of everything that happened in Wednesday night's 7v7 Ben Wexler Cup, week 2 of that, and we'll announce some winners, announce some point leaders, and get in, get out. Soccer is a gift.
Yeah, soccer is a gift. You are correct, my friend.
All right, so hashtag MPLS is back, week 2. It's came and went, folks, and it was another episode of Soccer Night in America up at the National Sports Center under those lights. Nice, refreshing mist kissing the faces of the players, settling into the turf, making conditions perfect for a nice night of soccer after what was a really hot week.
Yeah, very hot week.
To remind people that don't know, the purpose of the league or the details of the 7v7 league can be found at mplscitysc.com/7v7-league if you want to look it up. But basically, this is a 7v7 format. It's made up of teams that are all comprised of compromised. They're all compromised. Anyway, all the teams consist of City 1 and City 2 players, along with some potential futures players and some trialists in as well. All the teams are named after they all have cool names, named after musicians, such as Tackled by Turtles, the Bob Dillionaires, Morris Day, and the One Timers, and the Paisley Park 99ers. Every week, our 4 teams pair off and play each other 2 games per week. Besides overall record, along the way that we are tracking goals, and we are tracking the Golden Boot, we're tracking assists and weekly MVPs, and all of that plays into our Pick'em League.
Yeah, absolutely. I got lost here in our show notes, so I was kind of going through some stuff, but so it's just some quick things to note. Once again, it was a member of the front office that had to lace the cleats up and fill in as we saw some of the out-of-town college players start to make their way back to the COVID hives, which are their universities. But all seriousness, be safe, guys. What a shit show the return to college has been across the country, Nate. So yours truly dusted off the boots and put in a solid 18-minute shift. With some guys were kind of coming late from prior commitments. So, yeah, I played some soccer.
Wow, it's a good opportunity for you to make good on all the mouthing off you do while you're on the sidelines. That's for sure.
Well, put it this way: so I didn't embarrass myself.
That's good.
And it is like riding a bike, but I don't ride the bike every week like these guys do. So, yep. I mean, they're so fast and they're so skilled and truly, I'll talk a little bit about it when we go into the game recap. But if my first option to make a pass is not on or safe, my second option, I can't critically think fast enough anymore with the speed of play to pull it off. So it's like I'll have some turnovers or I might kick a ball out of bounds or I'll just get beat in a foot race, so I ended up playing in the back. So I didn't embarrass myself, but I'm sure they were glad to get back to full strength before halftime. But we did go into the half not down, and I did make one mistake that led to a goal, which I'll talk about, but it wasn't a backbreaker because we scored right after. So
that's nice.
Yeah,
so this game we're talking about is the Bob Dillionaires versus the One Timers.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to point out that For the one-timers ahead of this match, the Pick'em League had them as a heavy underdog. Only 20% of players, Pick'em players, picked the one-timers to be the victors. This team was nearly full strength, however, only without Samuel Ruiz Plaza, who was kind of just on the sidelines thanks to a slight knock that he picked up in training this week. He did warm up with the team. He was here. He just decided to not play. Bob Dillionaires, on the other hand, once again without without Peruvian Franco Pertel, given the night off to tend to personal matters. Both of the Hutton brothers were late. Missing in action were both goalkeepers on the Dillionaires. So former St. Thomas and Minnesota United training keeper Mitch Wold made his debut.
Sorry, that's a typo. Mitch Wolf.
Wolf. Oh, I was like, okay. Mitch Wolf made his debut in the 7v7 league. John, this is where you come in. Also missing Abdi Kadi, Abdallah Ba, and Archie Jerdam. So you had to fill in and eat up some minutes before your heart exploded. From just trying to keep up with some of these young guys. You said you felt like you did okay, but how did the game go?
Well, first off, like I said, I realize I'm old. There one of the players on the other team was a Academy DA player, and he was 17. So I'm over 20 years older than that guy. So I definitely felt a little bit old, and my mind can keep up. But like I said, my first option, it's pretty much is it. And my body really does still hurt. And we're talking like almost the full 5 days since then. But the Billionaires, we got off to a really fast start, just minutes in when City Captain Max Stigward slotted in a great through pass to Justin Oliver, who beat Devin Thompson, and we were on the front foot to the good right away, Nate. Something to also mention that we haven't yet is that there is offsides in the 7v7 league. So that typically in your normal 7v7 format you don't have that, but you can't just have a cherry picker. So it really means that like a good through pass in that small space really does take a well-timed run and a really good weighted pass. So Stigwart to Oliver to beat Thompson, and we're 1-0, but it would not really last long as I got caught without an outlet at the back, and Matt Gibbons smelled blood in the water and nicked the ball off me. Then tried down the field to find Will Kidd, who then beat Newman Wolf on a really well-placed, Will Kidd type goal. It was then about at the 20-minute mark in that first half where the Hutton brothers did show and Nick Hutton entered the fray for us, and that was the game changer. The Dillionaires could then cart my old ass home, and finally they had a talisman who we could really target up top. What was really happening, Nate, was that because we didn't have a target forward, we had Stigwart in the middle. It was Wes Lawrence and I in the back with Hoof kind of playing a defensive midfielder, and then Stigwart a little bit more advanced in the middle, and then we had Oliver and last week's MVP Bernard on the wings, but we didn't have anyone centrally up top we could go to. But then when Hutton came in, then he went up there, and it really totally did change things. So at the half, we saw the scoreline, go 3-3. And it was really entertaining back and forth match, but it was the Hutton and Oliver show in the second half that sealed the deal as they combined for 4 second half goals. And in the dying moments, 2 pinpoint massive saves by Wolf that kept us in the game and ended up leading to a 7-5 victory.
Well, let's hear, John. You got a chance to talk to Week 1 MVP, the Dillionaires, Bernard Asabi-Rule. What did he have to say about his Week 1 honor and the play of his team in Week 2?
All right, I'm here with Week 1 MVP Bernard. Bernard, how's it been coming back to play with the guys in like more of an organized fashion?
It's been really good, especially since like all the COVID stuff and everything. And it's great to like have a high level quality soccer right in my backyard, so it's pretty good.
So you were before I get into that, so you're heading back Saturday.
Yep.
Did your coaches ask like what you were doing? Did you explain to them what we were doing at all?
Yeah, I did, and then they obviously enjoyed that I was coming out here for sure because it's like really high level and everything.
And they trust us.
And they trust you guys, obviously, because they recommended me to go to you guys the first time. So
yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
So you were week 1 MVP, 3 goals, 2 assists. You gave your team the victory. We were just talking to Chairman Hoodman, slotted a bunch past him. So how did you think it went in week 1 and then the progression into week 2, besides the fact that I had to play?
No, I thought you did great, by the way.
Oh, thanks. I did okay.
No,
I only coughed up 1 goal.
Well, we equalized, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
Week 1 was good because I really like playing small side. Obviously, it's really good fitness. It's like the most match fitness I can get right now, so it's pretty good, fast paced, and then especially with the guys that we're playing with, like you get to play with different types of people and see how everyone gets to play. So you find ways to gel and
a lot of touches.
Exactly, so it's good.
So we're basically creating the futures model. This is the futures model for players that we're going to be inviting in from 17 to 20. How do you see this being beneficial for a younger player coming up, since you didn't have something like this?
I mean, especially when you're younger, the most important thing is to get touches. So like in an environment like this, like a high level environment like this, to get quality touches is always important. So I think it's going to benefit the younger players a lot. So
all right, awesome. Well, good luck going back to Green Bay senior season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Big Horizon League championship on the line,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
But hopefully you guys don't get sent right back here. But if you do, we got somewhere to.
For sure, I'll be back here if I get sent back. For sure.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Bernard.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
So, John, it's interesting to hear the same thing from Bernard that we're hearing from a lot of players, and that is that small-sided ball is super fun, but also it's beneficial for them wherever they are in their development. He's super excited to go back to college, armed with some of the experience and the extra fitness that he may have picked up through participating in training with City and through this league in a little bit. It's got to be a reason why everyone, when I went to check out training and to talk to some of the players, it's like everyone is all in on this league. Everyone is on board with what you're trying to do.
It was really good to hear, that he talked about his, he did talk to his college coaches about what he's doing now. And there's college coaches that kind of fall into 2 camps. The one where they don't want their players, exposing themselves in large groups. And then the ones that are like Green Bay, where Bernard goes, saying like, we trust City. We've been in bed with them since the beginning with players. So yeah, please go out and play with them.
It's nice to have like a trusted cohort of players that you can.
Yeah, it really is.
You can hope that you're
a safe environment where a guy can play.
Well, next up, John, the other game on Wednesday night was Tackled by Turtles versus the Paisley Park 99ers. Unfortunately for the Turtles, they lost Rory and Eli, both going back to school at New Hampshire. And with that, that's really their heart. That's the heart of their team.
Yeah.
Leaving only Steve as their true central option. Now, I'll tell you what, signing up for this league and thinking about picking players and looking at the lineups, I didn't even think that kids would be going back to school this early. I probably should have.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see in the pickup results, Nate, that you probably should have thought about that.
I should have thought about that. Adnan Gilby was a late scratch, and Matt Elder made his return to action from his hamstring issue. So there were some scratches, but a key return for TBT. And they've picked up free agents Ben LeMay, who is a Drake graduate, as well as Tim Maynard, a Luther College alum. So they're replacing guys on their roster, but they're not. It's no Rory O'Driscoll. Yeah. It's no Eli.
Yeah.
No slight to the 99.
No slight to the new guys, but yeah, that's not them.
Yeah. As far as the 99ers, they were last week's surprise team, and voters really hitched their wagons to, and 75% of people picked them to win. And they once again impressed, getting back defender Jack Berry and Ian Quigley. Yep, but they're still without center back Logan Huber and Aiden O'Driscoll. But they were able to pick up Tyler Oliver as a free agent, which helped round out the team. John, how did this one work out? Because it sounds like Tackled by Turtles are missing a lot of key players.
So I'll be totally honest with you, friends of the show. I saw about 40% of this game because I was up to my ears and trying to contain the club's all-time leading goal scorer in Will Kidd, and basically like 3 or 4 other former Division III All-Americans. So I won't pretend to tell you that I know how well it went. But I did see some of the action. It was pretty much the AO and Mito Youssef show, as both of them put the team on their backs and made it a night of hell for Matt Elder in his league debut. Mitu was just off AO's pace, scoring 2 goals to AO's 3. which
Nice.
ended up being the difference as they bested the Turtles by a score of 7-4. AO was an absolute beast, like the AO of old, but just constantly, flying in, breaking up tackles, getting involved in the offense. He didn't really notch any assists, but he was heavily involved in, I think, 2 or 3 other goals that I had seen. So he definitely put the shift in, and his 3 goals were the difference as that scoreline was 7-4. The highlight of the night, I think, though, was I did catch Mark Bokeen, formerly of VSLT and Vlora City of the UPSL, caught Troy Luegi a little bit wrong-footed as he put like a perfectly weighted ball via the chip into the back post. I mean, and Troy's like 9 feet tall, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a hard thing to do, specifically when you're in a small-sided environment. It was about 25 yards out, and I think it was a cross, but it looked a little more like a shot than a cross, so I'll give him a little bit of credit here. It wasn't one of those ones where it was lofted up and the wind took it. Like he actually had some pace on it. But it was right in front of the fans that are allowed to make it into the experience. And it drew quite a few oohs and ahs as that one went over. So highlight of the night for sure. Outside of me, making my comeback into competitive soccer. My overall thoughts: we're gonna need a defibrillator if I'm gonna be asked to be a super sub, because I after 20 minutes I leaned over and looked at Hoof and I was like, we need to get a guy here because I need to come off this field. Like I can play, but not that fast for 20 minutes. There's no way. I also didn't get a proper warm up in, but that's beside the fact. The play dipped a little bit, to be honest, but I still thought it was a high level. I was talking to some of the coaches, and it's no disrespect to the guys because it is just week 2, and guys are coming and going, so you're still not really gotten your core together yet. I mean, some teams have figured it out. The 99ers for sure have figured, or not the 99ers. The 99ers. Sorry. They have totally figured it out. They have a good core. They've had consistency. So, but it really, for certain parts of the games, even the one that I was in, it was just a case of like, it looked like just like the best pickup game you could possibly play in Minnesota. And there wasn't like off the ball runs. It was like very, very stagnant, some bad touches, errant passes, a lot of good goalkeeping play though, which was a bright spot too, but it just wasn't what we saw in week 1. But we'll look to that'll definitely iron itself out, because we have quite a few weeks left. And there were some new faces who played big roles. I mentioned Mitch Wolf, who stepped in and showed that he's very much the part, and you kind of see why Minnesota United was using him as a training goalkeeper for the past few seasons. And he was every bit the part, and was a key contributor in that victory for the Dillionaires. And then, guys like Ben LeMay and Tim Maynard, good college soccer players who maybe haven't been playing at this high of a level, but showed that they're capable of contributing. Like we said, they're not the Elis and the Rorys that we know have that pedigree, but they did a good job. So all in all, a great week of soccer night in America.
Excellent, John. Well, one of the things that's interesting to note too is that, like you said, the 99ers seem to have consistency on their side, which is apparently something that is going to be scarce moving forward. So it's important for people to note, when you've got a leader like AO who can score goals and defend.
I mean, if you look at their roster, say of Troy, who is obviously an established player in the net for us. You have AO, Eli Lloyd, who we spoke to last week from the Development Academy, a young engine that they can throw out there. So here, Alavasi, they got Jack Berry back. Jake Simons was back in the fold. Ian Quigley came back. They were missing O'Driscoll, but then you have Javier, the Gato Juarez, and Midu. So you have a really good core of pretty good puzzle pieces for a 7-a-side team. A lot of speed, a lot of grit, a lot of guys that want to play fast. So yeah, definitely they do have it.
Well, John, you also had a chance to talk to head coach
Excuse me.
Matt Van Benscoten. I'm interested to hear his take now that we're fully into this competition after 2 weeks, how he feels everything's going.
All right, I am here with Minneapolis City head coach Matt Van Benscoten. Matt, it is week 2 of the whatever you want to call it. What are you calling it?
Happy Fun Time.
Happy Fun Time.
Yep.
The winner of Happy Fun Time, of course, gets the Ben Wexler Brotherhood Cup. How do you think things are going so far?
Great, honestly. Like I'm actually surprised at how into it the guys are and how much they want to compete. It's awesome. It was much better than I thought it was going to be.
So we have quite a few young and new faces. Has anyone stood out that's kind of new to the camp right now?
Yeah.
To you?
I think Eli Lloyd, who's actually a kid who came over to us when Minnesota United folded their academy, has done incredibly well. He's been fun to watch. You've seen him kind of acclimate to the level, and he stood out for sure.
How about some of the old guard? Who, after week 2, have you seen that's continued from pre-COVID pace to post-COVID?
For sure. You know what? Ao actually had an astounding night tonight. And, maybe this will be released after the fact. I think he's in the running for player of the week this week. I think he had a hat trick. He was all over the place. Oh. He looked really good. And Chuck is the ageless wonder, so he's just is what he is.
So seeing that we're going to pilot this as the futures model, I talked to JJ last week about it, him being the architect of it. Mm-hmm. What's your impression of it for when we do translate it into the futures model?
I think it'll be great. I think it'll be clearly. My thing was I was wondering if the competition level was going to be high, if guys wanted to compete. But I think that clearly, like, they do. And so if our guys want to compete out here, I think the young guys, when they come in, are going to be all about it. I think they're going to love it. I think they're going to get a good amount of training with it. And then, just let them turn them loose and play. And I think it'll be awesome.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how did I perform in the 15 minutes before I had a heart attack?
I'm going to plead the 5th because I actually did not watch your game. But I'll round up and say 10.
No, for sure not a 10. All right, Matt, thank you so much.
For sure. See you, man.
Well, Matt sounds like he's just happy to be there, man. Like he's just looking around, smiling, just pumped about everything going on around him. But it also sounds like we got a little glimpse into the MVP for week 2. Who else was in the running, and what did that MVP competition look like?
Before we get into that, I believe what you were trying to say is Matt's just there so he doesn't get fined. No, he has an interesting role because he's allowed to just take a step back and watch. He's not doing any coaching, so it really is a good chance for him to do a lot of evaluating for when we do kind of move to those next steps eventually, if the world ever gets back on the right tilt. But anyways, yes, back to player of the week announcement. So sorry, folks who thought that Bernard might be the first ever 2-week MVP.
The only back-to-back.
The only back-to-back ever. That was not the case. This week's honor, voted on by the coaches and selected by Coach Van Benscoten, was none other than Captain Aaron Olson on the back of his I'll call him game-winning 3 goals, and just the overall play, the leadership that he coupled with Troy, the way that he specifically was able to get the team together. Another, call it an upset if you want, but another instance where they just put the work in, man, and they're going to be really tough. The next week's game, I believe, is them versus the Billionaires, and that definitely should be a good one to watch. I think 2 undefeated teams. But who he edged out once again, Justin Oliver, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, who on the night scored 3 goals of his own, adding 2 more assists. Excuse me. The allergies after playing.
Oh my gosh!
I was playing golf outside today, and allergies were getting me. But he wasn't selected. Just the coaches decided to go with club captain Aaron Olson, but Oliver, another strong outing for him. And then newcomer Mitch Wolf in net, who I mentioned made those 2 game-sealing saves for the Billionaires on his first night in competitive club game action. So he definitely was up and equal to the task. We do have a Golden Boot race update, but I do believe that these stats are incorrect.
They are. I was just thinking about that.
Yep. So we're going to have to go back, and we will provide the update to the Golden Boot race to you folks next week. But quite a few players scoring quite a few goals. But that was it, man, for gameplay action.
Let's talk about the Pick'em League leaders of the week. You guys got everyone got better. We saw 13 folks get match 1 correct, going with the Bob Dillionaires, and 12 of them correctly going with the 99ers, giving them another impressive win. We saw our first ever 10-pointer. David Anderson picked club captain AO as the week 2 MVP, and he got it right. And as far as the scores go, we had 3 people get dead on. Dan Warner gets match 1 score of 12 correct, and John, you and Paul Smeichel got match 2 correct with 11. So that's pretty sweet. Those are the hardest things to do, is pick the MVP and pick a score. And we had a lot of people get them right, which is why the scores in general, the points in general, were very high.
Yeah, very high, and it really it definitely tilted the top of the table. Seeing David Anderson and his team, the Big Green, go into the lead with 12 points. Big week for him. Dan Warner and the Warner Schnitzels pulls in second at 9 points. And then Paul, with my favorite team name, Charles's dog, goes level with Uncle Biz's Ballers, my team, on 7 points. And you, Nate, have 4 points.
Yeah.
So all you need is like 1 correct MVP, and you are, top
of there.
You're right at the top of the table, man. So yeah.
There's a few of us with 4 points. Some people with 2 still. It's okay. It's okay. It's a long league.
It's early. It's early. Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, congrats to this week's top pickers. You should be contacted by Sarah about the spots that you earned to watch live next Wednesday. And if not, stay tuned for that info. It'll be hitting your inbox soon. For the rest of us, keep up the good work. Keep picking.
Yep. And then finally, before we close this short show up, I caught up with longtime friend and club chairman Dan Hudeman for the final interview of the week while he took the night off in that to take in the action, and we discussed how the league's going and some of the very recent news. Let's just call it a similar development model than one that we are near and dear to our hearts, that Minnesota United discussed rolling out last week. So let's have a listen to what club chairman Hudeman had to say. Okay, I am here at the end of the night, the fun part where the beers get cracked, with Chairman Dan Hudeman. Dan, thank you for taking some time to be with me here.
Always a pleasure, John.
Dan is the new third-choice goalkeeper for Minneapolis City. So you played in week 1. How'd that go? Besides I'm not trying to, not the negatives. How'd it go overall?
It was a blast. The level was high. There's so many good players.
Yeah, I can attest to that.
The level was really high, and the intensity was there too, right? With sevens, it's quick. People are snapping in tackles. You got to move the ball fast. So it was fun for an old guy like me to be part of it.
Well, I was part of it today, so I can feel your pain. Except for you had more minutes than I did.
Yeah.
After 15, the defibrillator came out, and I was like, I'm done.
We'll be the same amount of sore.
Yeah, my feet already hurt. So we're going to be piloting this out as the futures model. I've pretty much asked everyone I've talked to last weekend, this week, like, what do you think the benefits of this model are definitely going to be for a younger goalkeeper?
I mean, for a goalkeeper, it's great because, so often when you're playing full-sided, you just don't see that much action. Whereas in sevens, you're getting the ball to the feet, you're getting people attacking from different angles, and you're getting a lot of different scenarios that may happen once a game, multiple times a game. 3-on-1, 3-on-2, quick switches of the ball.
Shots from distance, like everything.
Shots close. There's so much variety. And, your team has to use you with the ball to the feet. So you got to be moving a lot differently. You got to make yourself available. It's much more of like the modern goalkeeper experience, and you can't hide behind just good shot stopping, which is kind of the American goalkeeper thing for ages. Really athletic, great shot stoppers. Technical's not working. You just can't do that in sevens. Certainly at the level that we're playing at, right. It's just too fast and
too furious.
Too furious. Love that one.
Yeah. So essentially, what you're saying is you can't hide as a goalkeeper.
Well said.
You can't hide it. What about for a younger 17 to 20-year-old field player?
I mean, I think it's the same thing where, what it's really about for development is reps under pressure, right? And so, what they're getting is you're getting a ton of pressure because of the field size, and you're being forced to do things you're maybe not always comfortable with because, you can't just play the flat pass to the fullback.
No.
You can't play safe all the time.
Yeah.
You're gonna get right in front of your own goal.
You have to try
You've got to start to try stuff. You've got to play. Progressively, you got to play on the front foot.
I did not do that today.
It's difficult, right?
It's really hard.
You get closed down fast. You can close down multiple angles. So for a young player, when you're trying to figure out how to solve it, playing it at fast forward with good players is going to force you to get good quickly.
Right. I mean, I was 20 years older than the youngest guy on the field today.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
It sucks.
I had a defender who was less than half my age. So I did my best not to yell at him.
Do your fucking job. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
That's pretty much what happened.
Stay in school.
Yeah, he said sorry to his mom.
They made her sign a consent form for him.
For him, yeah.
So there's been a lot of chatter in the soccerverse about the fact that Minnesota United, they launched their version of the futures model, for lack of a better way to describe it, their youth development product. It is very similar to what we're rolling out, but I'd like to get your thoughts on your take on it being a little bit similar and it being in our market now that we have something that we can also offer to players that's an alternative.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely similar, and I think it's our model. And I think that's a great thing because, when I think about what you and Jeremiah and Adam did, thinking this through and how this is going to come together, we created something new, but that in hindsight, you're like, well, this is obvious. This is necessary, and it should be additive onto the local clubs. It should be additive to the players. And so them picking up and using that model, that's validating for what the model is.
Right.
It's not like we tried to copyright a training model. Like,
right, yeah.
If in 20 years the United States wins a World Cup because all the top clubs are using this type of model, you better believe we're going to get super drunk on it.
Yeah.
But
popping bottles.
Right. All that. Yeah.
It'll be in Qatar again.
We'll be sending we'll send the bill to U.S. Soccer.
Yeah.
It'll be great. But I think it is really validating. And there have been other clubs across the country who've asked us questions about it and talked about it. And we met with Manny Lagos and we've answered questions to Minnesota United too. So we're open about sharing it because we think it is a great thing. Is it the right thing for every club? No.
Yeah, probably not.
And it'll be seen how Minnesota United tweaks it to work for them. But this additive model, instead of the tear it down and we're going to do it our own way model, instead of the exclusive model like the DA, you couldn't play high school, you couldn't play club. These DAs were taking away from youth clubs and became very aggressive. Like, it's good to get rid of that. So I'm glad it happens, and I think it's actually going to be better for Minneapolis City because I think we have all of the correct infrastructure. We've proven it out. We're proving it with
week 2
our senior players.
It looks like it's going to work.
I think we have kind of a step on everyone else, and so that'll be good. Having it in our market means we'll have 2 great futures programs. I think there's enough talent for 2.
I think so too, and I think that it'll just elevate Minnesota soccer, which is what our whole purpose was.
Yeah, right.
It's to me it's a little disappointing that it hasn't been thought of sooner.
Right.
But now more than ever, we need to figure it out. And I think I agree with you. I think it's important for both of us to coexist together. And we talked about it earlier. It adds the opportunity for us to play against each other, to support each other. If there's a player in their system that might fall down, but is good enough, just not right now.
Right.
They might be perfect for our system, and vice versa. We might have someone who we're like, you're wasting your time with us. You need to be in a pro environment.
Right. Well, for every player that elevated from 16 to 18, you have guys like Ian Wright, or even a guy like Harry Kane, who never looked like he was going to be that great until all of a sudden he was. And when we met with Manny, we met a few weeks after we announced it and talked a lot about the program. And so we were open about sharing it. It's not like we were trying to
behind the curtain
hoard it, and as we were talking about it, one of the things that we talked about and agreed on is it's going to be impossible at those ages to be perfect in talent selection. And so having multiple programs that can help guys elevate, we'll make sure that the late bloomers, the guys who really want it, or, that we're much more like our competitors across the world, where you don't have to be awesome at 12, and that's the only way you're going to make it.
Just be awesome by 19.
Right. You know, be awesome when it counts.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to be tracked and then lose it if not.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Any final thoughts on week 2? Anything that stood out to you?
Well, I think you and I need to play together in week 3. That's what I'm talking about.
You know, all my cleats are always in the car. All right. Thanks, Dan.
Well, John, with a similar model and kind of the ability to, or maybe some incentive to, you know, kind of trade players every once in a while, send guys up, send guys down. I mean, that's really gracious, I would say, of the team to say, yeah, go ahead, United, and take our model, and you have our blessing.
Well, right. I mean, we have to think about it's not like a situation like the MLS franchise in St. Louis being very close in branding to us.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a brand new thing. And I think that Dan kind of touched on it in saying, like, if we find that this model is successful and it's working at all other levels of soccer, then we did something right. We just brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the game of soccer is not ours, and how we package it is not ours. You know, we have certain things that are true to our club and our core values and how we do things, but you know, this model isn't a brand new thing. Like 7v7 was not just invented. But the supplemental the supplemental model and nature of what our futures program and what Minnesota United is doing is and being so that it's additive to what other people are offering and can be more of a permanent home, I think is a really smart way to go about it. And he and I talked a little bit about it as well, you know, that you guys just heard, that there's some players that are just late bloomers. And that's what our slice of the pie can assist in someone like, you know, with Minnesota United. If we find a guy that is just head and shoulders at 17 above everyone else, it's not benefiting anyone if we try to just hold on to that player. You know what I mean? If we can actively guide them into a professional environment, it's absolutely our obligation to do that for the player. And then on the flip side of it, you know, there may be some players that were 14, 15, 16 identified by United as a potential earner in the future. And maybe their development is too slow and the additive model that they have isn't a good environment for them, but they want to keep tabs on them, and our model might be better for that player. So I think there's just going to be good collaboration, but also look at it as two options to be able to play each other without having to travel. So you know, this just picks up another game that the Futures top 18 players can play in against a professional side. So
and selfishly, you know, it adds a competitive edge to Minneapolis City as we set our sights a little higher than just the NPSL North year after year in the future, right?
Right, exactly. So I some people might look at it as like a downside, or this is just some interesting business tactics by an MLS team to have something similar to us. But I for one am raising the flag that I think it's beneficial, and I think it's a good thing. So yeah, there you go, man.
All right,
I'll
accept your opinion.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for this week's show, folks. Thank you, as always, to our show's sponsor, Summit Brewing Company. Hey, you know, the heat feels to be draining from the air. We're rounding out summertime, so what better way to welcome the fall than with a fine Oktoberfest? Hopefully,
had some today.
Yep, I just saw it at the liquor store. You know it is out there. Our pals at Summit definitely have one of the best Oktoberfests in town. Get yourself some at your local liquor store. Summit, a more meaningful brew since 1986. Yeah, I said summer first. That's okay. If giving back to the community means a lot to you, maybe it's time to give to the club that gives back. Minneapolis City is a 501c3 that provides safe, reliable, and fun environment for young people to play the beautiful game, as well as our newly formed Future Program Scholarship Fund. Consider a tax-deductible donation to a true city-focused organization today. Do you have anything you want us to cover? We got some time on this show right now. Any guests that you want us to maybe have on? Whoa, send us mail. It is super easy. You just got to hit us up on Twitter at The People's Pitch, or you can email us at mcscpodcast gmail.com. If calling is more your speed, this is very exciting. You want to hear your voice live on the show? Hit up our show hotline. It is 612-460-5683. Once again, that is 612-460-5683. Put it in your speed dial because all questions, comments, and concerns welcome. And finally, as always, you can hit the club up at MPLS City SC on Twitter for all your complaints. That does it. I am Nate. That was John. We're going to be back next week with more 7v7 action. Make sure you're getting your picks in. And you got hoofed?
You got hoofed.
Oh, I beat you to it.
You hoofed me.
Poster burning maple weeds, cradle major keys. Thinking back, I've been major since the minor league. So supreme, too much sauce off my olive NMDs. I could staple steez, bend the goat so I get the cheese. Never fall, rake them leaves and make sure every moment gets seized and everything I see.